Gave you a taste of publicity, didn't I? Said Lockhart. Gave you the bug. You got onto the front page of the paper with me, and you couldn't wait to do it again. Oh no, Professor C. Hurry, 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 said Lockhart, reaching out and grasping his shoulder. I understand. Natural to want a bit more once you've had the first taste. And I blame myself for giving you that, because it was bound to go to your head. But see there, young man, you can't start flying curves to try and get yourself noticed. Just calm down, all right? Plenty of times for all that when you're older. Yes, yes, I know that you're thinking. It's all right for him. He's an internationally famous wizard already. But when I was 12, I was such as much of a nobody as you are now. In fact, I'd say I was even more of a nobody mean. A few people have heard of you, haven't they? Oh, the business with he who must not be named. He glanced at the lightning skirt on Harry's forehead. I know. It's not quite as good as winning which weekly Most Charming Smile award 5 times in a row, as I have, but it's a start, Harry, it's a start. He gave Harry a hearty wink and strode off. Harry stood stunned for a few seconds, then, remembering he was supposed to be in the greenhouse, he opened the door and slid inside. Professor Sprout was standing behind a trestle bench in the center of the greenhouse. About 20 pairs of different colored earmuffs were lying on the bench. When Harry had taken his place between Ron and Hermione, she said, "We'll be reporting mandrakes today. Now, who can tell me of the properties of mandrakes?" To nobody's surprise, Hermione's hand was first into the air. Mandrakes, or mandragora, is a powerful restorative, said Hermione, as usual, as though she had swallowed the textbook. It is used to return people who have been petrified or cursed to their original states. Excellent, 10 points to Gryffindor, said Professor Sprout. The mandate forms an essential part of most endurance. It's also, however, dangerous. You can tell me why. Hermione's hand narrowly missed Harry's glasses, and he shot up again. The cry of mandrakes is fatal to anyone who hears it, she said promptly. Preciously. Take another 10 points, said Professor Sprout. Now the mandrakes we have here are still very young. She pointed to a rod of deep trees as she spoke, and everyone shuffled forward for a better look. 100 of the tufty little plants, purplish green in color, very growing there in rows. They looked quite unremarkable by the cry of mandrake. Everyone take a pair of earmuffs, said Professor Sprout. There was a scramble as everyone tried to seize a pair that wasn't pink and fluffy. When I tell you to put them on, make sure your ears are completely covered, said Professor Sprout. When it is safe to remove them, I will give you the thumbs up. Right, earmuffs on! Harry snapped the earmuffs over his ears. They shut out sound completely. Professor Sprout put the pink fluffy pair on her own ear, rolled up her sleeves of her robes, grasped one of the toffee plants firmly and pulled hard. Harry let out a gasp of surprise that no one could hear. Instead of roots, a small, muddy, and extremely ugly baby popped out of the earth. The leaves were growling right out on his head. He had pale green mottled skin and was clearly bawling at the top of his lungs. Professor Sprout took a large plant pot from under the table and plunged the mandrake into it, burying him in dark, damp compass until only the tough leaves were visible. Professor Sprout dusted off her hands, gave them all the thumbs up, and removed her own earmuffs. As all mandrakes are only seedling, they quite won't kill you yet, she said calmly, as though she'd just done nothing more exciting than water a begonia. However, they will knock you out of several hours, and as I'm sure none of you want to miss your first work, I will attract you intention when it is time to pack up. For to the tree, there is a large supply of pots here, compass in the sacks over there, and be careful of the venomous tentacular thing. She gave a sharp slap to his bleaky dirt-clad plant as she spoke, making it draw in the long feelers that had been inching steadily over her shoulder. Harry, Ron, and Hermione were joined at their tray by a curly-haired Hufflepuff boy Harry knew by sight but never had spoken to. Justin Fletcher, he said brightly, shaking Harry by the hand. You know who you are, of course, the famous Harry Potter, and you Hermione Granger, always top of everything. Hermione beamed as she had her hand shaken too. And Ron Weasley, wasn't that your flying car? Ron didn't smile. The howler was obviously still on his mind. That locker's something, isn't it? Said Justin happily as they began filling their plant pot with the dragon dung compass, awfully being cornered in a telephone booth by a werewolf, but he's the cool and zap. Just fantastic. My name was down for Adam, you know. I can tell you how glad I am I came here instead. Of course, Mother was slightly disappointed, but since I made her read Lockhurst's book, I think she's begun to see how useful it will be to have a fully trained wizard in the family. After that, they didn't have much chance to talk. Their earmuffs were back on, and they needed to concentrate on mandrakes. Professor Sprout had made it look extremely easy, but it wasn't. The mandrakes didn't like coming out of earth, but didn't seem to want to go back into it either. They squirmed, clicked, failed their minutes trying to squash a particularly fat one into a pot. Minutes trying to squash a particularly by the end of the class, Harry, like everyone else, was sweaty, aching, and covered in earth. Everyone traced back to the castle for a quick wash, and then the Gryffindor hurried off to Transfiguration. Professor McGonagall's class were always hard work, but today was especially difficult. Everything Harry had learned last year seemed to have leaked out of his head during the summer. He was supposed to be turning a beetle into a button, but all he managed to do was give his beetle a lot of exercise as scuttled over the desk top, avoiding his wand. Ron was having far worse problems. He had patched up his wand with some borrowed cellophane tape, but it seemed to be damaged beyond repair. It kept crackling and sparkling at odd moments, and every time Ron tried to transfigure his beetle, it engulfed him in thick grey smoke that smelled of rotten eggs. Unable to see what he was doing, Ron accidentally squeaked his beetle with the elbow and had to ask for a new one. Professor McGonagall wasn't pleased. Harry was relieved to hear the lunch bell. His brain felt like a wrong sponge. Everyone filed out of the classroom except him and Ron, who was wagging his wand furiously on the desk. Stupid unlisting. Write home for another one, Harry suggested as the wand let off a volley of bangs like a faker. Oh yeah, and get another howler back, said Ron, stuffing the now hissing wand into his bag. It's our own fault your wand got snapped. They went down to lunch, where Ron's mood was not improved by Hermione's showing them the handful of perfect caught buttons by she had pronounced in transmigration. What if we got for this afternoon, said Harry, hastily changing the subject. Defense against dark arts, said Hermione at once. Why, demanded Ron, seizing her schedule. Have you outlined a Lockhart lesson in Little Hearts? Hermione snatched the schedules back, blushing furiously. They finished lunch and went outside with the August courtyard. Hermione sat down on a stone step and buried her nose in Voyage with Vampires again. Harry and Ron stood talking about Quidditch for several minutes before Harry became aware that he was being closely watched. Looking up, he saw a very small, mousy-haired boy he'd been trying on the Sorting Hat last year, staring at Harry as though transfixed. He was clutching what looked like an ordinary Muggle camera, and the moment Harry looked at him, he went bright red. All right, Harry, I'm Colin Creevey, he said breathlessly, taking a tentative step forward. I'm in Gryffindor too. Do you think would it be all right if I have a picture? He said, raising the camera huffily. A picture, Harry repeated blankly. So I can prove I met you, said Colin Creevey eagerly, edging further forward. I know all about you. Everyone told me about how you survived when you know who tried to kill you, and how he disappeared and everything, and how you've still got a lightning scar on your forehead. His eyes raked Harry's hairline. And a boy in my dormitory said if I develop the film in the right position, the picture will move. Colin drew a great shuddering breath of excitement and said, It's amazing here, isn't it? I never knew all this odd stuff I could do was magic till I got the letter of Hogwarts. My dad is a milkman. He couldn't believe it either, so I'm taking loads of pictures to send home to him. And it will be very good if I have one of you. He looked imploringly at Harry. Maybe your friends could take it, and I could stand next to you, and then could you sign it?